Pesticides have had their share of approval or disapproval throughout the years. After all, they do expose harm to humans, animals, and the environment. Pesticides are intended to be used for the sole purpose of killing living things. And for that reason, I want you to understand the risks associated with the use of pesticides and suggest alternatives for the non-use of these dangerous chemicals. By definition, a pesticide is a substance used to kill wild animals, insects, fungi, or plants. There are many different pesticides used presently that have been developed in a laboratory by scientists. Many are hazardous because they can be harmful to living things, including humans. They are available for purchase in the form of a solid, a liquid, or a spray. I want to reiterate that pesticides are hazardous because they can poison the land, the water, and the air. According to the Department of Health, pesticides can enter the human body in 3 ways. Oral entry of a pesticide is by mouth, in the foods we eat or the liquids we drink. Respiratory entry of a pesticide is by breathing it through the mouth or nose. Lastly, dermal entry of a pesticide can be absorbed through the skin and eyes. Any and all entries from pesticides can cause harm, illness, and even death to humans or animals. In this example of a food chain provided by the Department of Health, pesticides have entered and killed the target pest, the grasshopper. However, the pesticide in the grasshopper has found its way into 3 useful animals. If you look closely, the food chain begins with the spraying of the pesticide and in turn goes to the grasshopper on the plant. So be aware that pesticides will contaminate plants and animals, which in turn can be eaten by humans. I would like to share this fact sheet provided by Pesticide Deaths that state some startling statistics. Did you realize that 220,000 people die every year worldwide because of pesticide poisoning, and that 69,000 children were poisoned by pesticides in the United States? And that farmers who use pesticides have a significantly higher rate of cancer incidence than non-farmers. Along with cancer, asthma, learning disabilities, and ADHD have been linked to pesticide exposure. In an agriculture health study in 1993, about 90,000 participants, in which 52,000 were farmers and 32,000 were wives of farmers from the Iowa and North Carolina area. These farmers used pesticides. This farming community had higher rates of leukemia, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, skin, lip, and stomach cancer, according to the National Cancer Institute Agriculture Health Study. In another study, UC Berkeley researchers wanted to study pregnant women in Salinas Valley, a region known as the Salad Bowl. Many of the green leafy vegetables have a pesticide residue on them because the growers spray their crops. The findings of this study from 2002 to 2012 found that students with learning disabilities dropped, but autism, speech impairment, and intellectual disabilities increased. In this community, about 9 to 10 billion pounds of pesticides were used annually, stated pesticide effects on generations of field workers. Beyond pesticides suggests that we must take a strategic action to shift away from the pesticide dependency and replace them with green strategies. They are alternatives for pesticide use that have been in use for many years. One having been in practice since the 16th century is crop rotation. By definition, crop rotation is a growing method which helps prevent the building of soil-borne pests and diseases. The farming land can be divided into 3 or 4 areas, of each of which is used to grow crops that are not related. By using this practice, pests will be very limited because the pests flourish if the crop remains the same. No pesticide usage will allow the soil to stay fertile, farmers to save money, and the environment to stay earth-friendly. Another alternative for pesticide use will be organic farming. Organic farming started in the 20th century. This alternative for pesticide use utilizes animal manure, green manure, crop rotation, and cover crops. Organic farming reduces the use of outside products, prohibits the use of pesticides and fertilizers, along with the use of hormones and antibiotics. Farmers work with their environment and feel their method is better for all those involved. As Alfred Kirschenbaum, a Wisconsin farmer, states, the main motivation for us going organic is out of a certain stewardship ethic towards the soil, the earth, and ultimately for mankind. And Iowa poultry and crop farmer Joe Rood added, it's about trying to get the ecological systems harmonious and working with it rather than overriding it. We can all agree that we would definitely not put powdered pesticides in our salt and pepper shakers and add them to our table food. Indeed, we all need to eat, but we must be aware of what is going to be consumed. Pesticides may stop diseases, however, as a poison, it can kill insects, animals, and even humans. So make yourself aware of the risk and decide not to use them, for there are many other alternatives.